Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. This is actually a little bit of an unorthodox intro to this video because I actually already have an intro. Like, I'm gonna be showing it after this, but it is April 5th, I believe. I think it's actually Easter. It's literally Easter. We just got home, I just showered, and I have finally started this Shop My Shelves episode 2, but I actually filmed the intro to this video and actually picked what the topic is in December, like December 2nd. And I just got so busy with other things. This kind of just fell by the wayside, especially because there is a very specific book for this topic that was chosen that I had to read. I could not do this video without this one specific book. And I think that's why I just kept putting this video off. So I do want to very quickly go to December me to actually, I mean, you guys know what it is. It's in the title, but to actually pick it, I will show you me picking it and talking a little bit about some of the books that we could choose. But I wanted to intro it like this to be like, hey, this was 4 months ago that I picked this. I plan to do Shop My Shelves much more often, but I just had so much backlist stuff that I had to get through first. So we are back on schedule for Shop My Shelves, and let's go to December me to talk about what our topic is. So this is a little bit unorthodox. I just finished filming my intro to my first sequel readathon video, and I'm working on, I just unwrapped 3 books to pick from, but I forgot this was here, and that reminded me I do need to start my next episode of Shop My Shelves, so we're just gonna go ahead and start that right now. We are going to pick our next genre, option, theme. I guess theme would be the perfect thing. So our very first video was romantasy. That ended up working out really, really well. I've read so much romantasy. I don't want romantasy again. So again, my rule is if I do pick romantasy, I am allowed to put it back and pick something else. But after I pick one, it goes back in the jar because this is not like the prompts don't expire. I can just keep reusing them over and over again. This jar will never be empty. Hopefully it'll get fuller. My dog just sat on the camera. Hopefully it'll get fuller as it goes on and I come up with ideas. So that being said, let's pick our next theme. I really need to attach this to something, but it doesn't like to attach to things. Ooh, hand is stuck. Okay, we have our prompt. We have our theme. It is, I can't tell, 5-star predictions only. 5-star predictions only. Okay, I might make this the title. I might make this the title because this is good. This is good. Like if it was like quests, I'm not gonna put that as the title of the thing. 5-star predictions only. Oh my. Okay. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start. I mean, Brimstone is wrapped up, so I can't read Brimstone. But I have some other ones, but a lot of them are sequels. 5-star predictions. I'm gonna have to look around and get a good idea of what some 5-star predictions are going to be. Oh, I'm so excited. Problematic Summer Romance is a 5-star prediction, I think. So yeah, next time you see me, I'll kind of have some options that we can talk through. Ooh, I'll bring you to the shelves. I'll bring you to the shelves and we'll check out some potential 5-star predictions, but I am very excited. I also might use NetGalley. Ooh, we've got some things. Okay, great pick. Fantastic pick. I'm putting this back in the jar and I'm gonna go work on the massive conglomeration of things that I'm working on right now. Okay, we are back to April me. Obviously a lot of things have changed. I'm 50% into our first book. And it is the book that this video would 100% center around. And so I feel like it's pretty obvious what that book is gonna be. It is on this shelf. It's you can probably guess what it is if you know anything about my reading taste. But our very first book, and the book that I'm already 50% into, is Atmosphere. I mean, I couldn't do this without reading Atmosphere, and I just don't think I was ready to read it when I pulled 5-star predictions. And this is these 5-star prediction on my shelf, because how I want to do these 5-star predictions, I want to legitimately pick a book and go, this should be 5 stars. I've rated other books by this author 5-star or 4.5, or they're just really close, and this new topic is absolutely perfect. I want to look at the book and go, this should be a 5-star. I will be absolutely baffled, shocked, surprised that this is not a 5-star after I read it. That's the kind of books that I want to read in this video, which makes this video really hard. It makes this a very difficult video because there's either going to be great joy from this video or great disappointment. So it's very intimidating reading 5-star predictions. And I feel like it shouldn't. You should be really, really excited, but it's a little scary because there's so much, I feel like, at stake when you read 5-star predictions, especially like 5-star predictions, not just books you're like, oh, they could be 5 stars. No, these are like the books that should be 5 stars. And if they're not, I'm gonna have to think about my life choices for a little while. So obviously we had to start with atmosphere. I am 55% into this book, and I do have some mixed feelings, but sometimes that can happen with some Taylor Jenkins read. Like, this still could be a 5-star. Could be a 5-star. It's definitely not lower than a 4 as of right now. Like, we're on the cry counter, the cry counter, we're on 3. We're on 3 at 55%, and I feel like the really sad stuff hasn't even really happened yet, which there's been some incredibly sad stuff. My problem with this book so far is it does feel a little cheesy at some points. So this is following our main character, Joan, and it's primarily following her journey to become an astronaut and be in the astronaut program. And you can tell this is very heavily researched. Like, I'm very much enjoying the reading experience of learning what an astronaut was, especially in like the 80s. And I think that aspect of it is really interesting, really fascinating. I love talking about women in science and obviously being looked over for a lot of men, especially astronauts. Like, NASA is such a boys club. Like, I feel like even now it's still a really big boys club. And just seeing NASA from the experience of a woman, especially like the first female astronauts, is amazing. I love that aspect of it. Unfortunately, there are parts that lean very cheesy. Like, we have sections where they're just looking at the sky and talking about the universe and how small we are, and like one section of that is fine, but there's like a lot of that in here, and it feels like it's supposed to feel profound in those moments, and instead, because there's so many of them, and our main character is just very, very introspective. Like, she is constantly thinking about these types of things. It just comes off as very cheesy sometimes. So that is like my biggest issue with this one so far. And also, I'm just not connecting with Joan as a character. And I think it's because she doesn't have too much of a personality, which is really strange for a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I feel like her characters have an abundance of personality in their books, and that's why you kind of engage with them really well. I feel like I don't know who Joan is, but I feel like Joan doesn't know who she is either. Like, she's too perfect. She's too perfect of a person. And it's not like, she's not the most interesting person to read from. So the relationships, like, I'm connected to the relationships, I'm connected to what's going on, but it does feel like something is currently missing from this one. Kind of how I think Malibu Rising, I think that's like, that one was a 4-star. I think everything else I've read by her is 5-star. Malibu Rising I had a similar feeling to Malibu Rising, where I just felt like I was missing something with the characters that I got from Evelyn Hugo, Carrie Soto is Back, and Daisy Jones and the Six. This storyline is following more similar to those 5-star ones, because Malibu Rising's storyline was a little weird too, but this storyline is falling closer to that, but my feeling for the characters is more similar to Malibu Rising. I also think this one is a little bit sad for the sake of being sad, and like, just because I'm crying, like I've cried 3 times. It's a very sad book so far. Just because I've cried 3 times doesn't mean it's necessarily like a 5-star. It just means that there's some really, really sad stuff in here. And it does feel a little overdone. Like, the sad stuff, the really depressing stuff, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I don't think that makes a great book. I think sadness and emotions for characters, when used well, that's what makes a really, really good book. And that's how I felt with Carrie Soto is Back, and that's how I felt with Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That's how I felt with Daisy Jones and the Six. This one is just throwing sad thing after sad thing after sad thing, and it's like prepping you for horrific things. And I'm just like, I don't know if I love that. I don't know if I like a book that's this book makes me feel like it's trying to make me feel sad. And I don't like that. I don't like when a book's purpose is to make you cry. I feel like Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, the point was to tell the story of this woman from Hollywood. And yes, it was very sad, but in this like really like purposeful way. Like, there was a purpose to the storytelling. It made sense. Same with Carrie Soto is Back. There was a very sad moment towards the end of the book, but it felt necessary to the storyline, and it wasn't like, it wasn't pointing you in that direction the whole book. Like, that was not the point of the book. The point of the book was the resilience of the main character, which again, that is going to be the point of this book. But I do think this book is trying to make you sad, and I just don't love that emotional manipulation that much. So we're gonna see. This still could be 5 stars depending on how the rest of the book is done, because like I said, I've been reading it on my Kindle because I've been out of town this weekend because it was Easter weekend. I'm not exactly sure where I'm at, so I'm gonna have to check where I am. But something really big just happened, because I did tell you it's taking place in the 80s leading up to her becoming an astronaut, but the other big point of view, there's a split timeline. It's taking place in 1984, because everything that we're doing in the past is leading up to this moment in 1984, where Joan is the not the lead, but she's Capcom. She's talking to astronauts in space, and there's something going on in space in 1984. Most of it is taking place, like, I think it starts, I don't know if it's 80 or 81, it starts there, and you're just, that whole story, and then the other is like a small section in 84. So I don't know. I'm conflicted on this one. It's still a phenomenally written book. It's still really, really good. I'm fascinated. I probably will finish it today. I will show my splotchy, swollen face, because I'm sure I will be sobbing at the end of this. But I'm not sure if I love just the feelings that are evoking from this one, like the vibes of this one, I'm not sure about. So we're going to continue reading it. Again, I am still enjoying it, but we'll kind of see where I land at the end. So I have finished Atmosphere. I'm so torn about what to give this book. I think I am going to give it 4.5. We're gonna give it 4.5. I really was thinking I was gonna give it a 5-star coming in here, but there were still too many moments throughout the book that I was just like, ugh, there's just a little bit of cheese factor to this one a little bit that I didn't read with her other books, that I just don't enjoy, like, super cheesy stuff where it's like the universe and what it means, and I just don't love that. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5 though, because that ending was so rude. Like, that was so rude. The last 20% really brought the whole book together. It kind of was going in a direction that I was expecting as well for, like, one of the plot lines, because one of the big plot lines is a storyline about Joan's sister and how shitty of a mom her sister is, and how Joan is really the one that's taking care of Frances. And so that storyline, I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, because I don't love child storylines, but I love how it was done. I love the complicated relationship in that, and I love what ended up happening at the end. So I was kind of expecting that, but I wasn't expecting to be as emotional about that storyline as I was about, like, the whole storyline. I feel like I cried at as many parts of the Frances storyline as I did of the Vanessa storyline, which I really wasn't expecting that, because again, I don't normally like kids in my stories or like that type of family drama, like kid-related family drama. That ending. That ending. I know I'm a very ugly crier. I didn't cry as hard as I was expecting. I was expecting, like, I do think I have some, like, pop blood vessels, but I was expecting, like, red, like, pop, like, when I read Carrie Soto is Back, and when I read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I mean, I had popped the blood vessels under my eyes. I cried so hard. So I kind of was expecting that in this one, but I think because of how it was done, it kind of trickled the sadness to you throughout the book, kind of like how I talked about earlier. So you were kind of expecting to sob at the end of this one, and I almost got to that point. Like, there was a point that you hit at the end of this book where I ratcheted up the crying, but then the very last page, I wasn't expecting it to end as, it kind of ends a little bit of abruptly. Like, you expect it kind of to go on this long, like, discussion about things, and then it does something and it ends, and I was like, that was rude. Like, that was so rude at the end of this book. Like, that last little, like, that would say 3 pages, that was so rude. That was so rude. But you know what? I think that's what made it so good. I feel like if it had ended any other way, I would have been upset because of what the rest of the book did. So I feel like this book is just, this book is a book of hope, and I appreciate that. And I think that's why I ended up liking it so much, because of the hopeful nature of this book. So 4.5. I really wanted it to be a 5, but it did not hit that 5. It is, I would say, that's the funny thing. Daisy Jones and the Six is not actually a 5-star, but I give it a 5-star because it has one of my favorite endings in a book, like, ever. Like, that, she's really good at writing endings. Carrie Soto and Evelyn Hugo are fully complete, in my opinion, perfect novels. Like, they are 6-star reads. They are amazing. Daisy Jones and the Six is like a 2-star book with a 7-star ending because everything worked so well together at the end that, like, again, some pop blood vessel things going on, but I loved where that book ended up, and that's why that one got a 5-star. But it probably overall as a story is more closer to like a 4. This one overall is like a 4.5. Like, I think the story in this one is significantly more solid than Daisy Jones, so I actually would put this one above Daisy Jones even though it's rated lower. That's why it's funky that it's not a 5, but I stick to this one being a 4.5. I would honestly much prefer to lower Daisy Jones to a 4.5 actually, if that were the case, but I'm just gonna leave it at a 5 just because it's been so long since I rated that one. But yeah, still Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That one has not been dethroned yet. Very close behind is Carrie Soto because I love Carrie Soto as a character. Probably one of my two favorite characters in books are Addie LaRue and Carrie Soto. Love them. Absolutely love them. Then I would definitely say Atmosphere is next, then Daisy Jones and the Six, then Malibu Rising. So I'm glad this one kind of like I was hoping to be like absolutely obsessed, cannot stop thinking about this book, and I will think about this book for a while, but it still doesn't, it's not going to stick with me as much as the top two did. But it's close. It was close. Oh, it was so close. I just wanted to feel a little bit more of a connection to Joan. I think that was the biggest problem that I had with this book, and again, it still wasn't a problem. This book is still better than like 90% of other books that I've read, but I wanted to like Joan as a character more. I just did not feel a connection that much to Joan. I felt a connection to like Joan's actions and Joan's like the relationship Joan had with other people, but I didn't feel a connection to Joan that much. And that's what I really wanted. I wanted to really understand Joan as a character, and I don't think I ever got to that point. I do like what they did with Joan's character as an astronaut though. I thought that was actually really, really good and really, really interesting. So 4.5, I feel like we're off to a really strong start. I'm not sure what I want to read next. I don't know if I'll pick something tonight. I do want to look through this cart, see if there's just anything off the bat, but otherwise I will pick something tomorrow morning. But let's see if I have something on here. Probably, hopefully a little bit lighter than what I just read. Although I do think one of my options in the other room is The Future Saints, which is I actually started reading the first chapter and I loved it. So I think I might pick The Future Saints, but I want to pick something between Atmosphere and The Future Saints, because The Future Saints is very apparently Taylor Jenkins Reid, and it read very Taylor Jenkins Reid at the beginning. So I want something a little bit lighter, a little bit different. The thing is, well, this is Empire of the Dawn, but Empire of the Damned would actually be a really good option, but I don't really want to read a sequel in this. I feel like that's cheating a little bit, but I could default to a sequel, but I don't know if I want to read anything like this long. But I don't see anything up here that I would guess is a 5-star besides Empire of the Dawn, but again, it would be Empire of the Damned. To Cage a Wild Bird actually is a 5-star prediction, but I'm unsure, and I'm also already reading it for a different video, so I won't put that in here. I don't see anything down here. Potentially Dark Forgetting, because I did give Kristen Ciccarelli a 5-star. I actually gave her duology a 5-star, both books. So potentially a Dark Forgetting. Ooh, I don't know if I love the idea behind this one though. It looks like it's gonna have some sort of traveling storyline, but I do love her romance stuff. So this is an option. This is an option because I have given a 5-star before, and I do think this really could be a 5-star. So I'll pull this one, and I think this one could be good between Atmosphere and The Future Saints. And then you guys can't see the bottom, but I actually do have actually I have 3 down here, but I don't know. So we have Anathema. The problem is I don't have any reason why I would think this is a 5-star other than everybody else is just like obsessed with it. So I don't know if I want to include this one in here. Like, this is like I think it should be a 5-star, but I don't have much reasoning behind it being a 5-star. So I'll pull it. It might be like a try chapter at the beginning, like about vibes, like if I'm vibing with it. And then the other one I've given The author, so this is a duo that does these books. I have given both of their other series, the first books in the series, 5 stars, and they've both been 2 of my favorite books ever, but I've hated the rest of the series with these books. So that's what's scary. So this probably is a 5-star, but potentially will not like the rest of the series. But the point is to read 5-star predictions, and this is 100% a 5-star prediction. So actually, I think we're going to be reading A Fate So Cold. If I'm not feeling like it's going to be a 5-star, I may abandon it to try something else. But as of right now, I think we're going to try to read A Fate So Cold. So I thought A Fate So Cold might work, but I'm liking the idea behind it, but I'm just not getting that immediate, yeah, this could be a 5-star. Like, I'm just not vibing immediately with the writing and like what the story is about. And so I picked some other options, and one is one that I'm definitely going to read, and then actually two of them I'm definitely going to read, and then I have 2 other ones that not both of them. Both of them are not going to be in here, but they are 2 other really good options that I do want to try and put one in here. I just don't know which one I want to do. But the one that I will be reading next, and one that I already have been reading a little bit of, is Wondersmith. This is the second book in the Nevermore series. This is a very new favorite series to me, so I'm really excited to continue reading it. I would really like to catch up in the series for the paperback of Silversmith. I think that's the 4th book, comes out in May. So I am currently in the second book, Wondersmith. I own the paperback of Hollowpox, which is book 3, and then the paperback for the 4th book doesn't come out until May. So I would like to catch up before that comes out. So I think this is a good one, and I do think this has a massive capability of being a 5-star. And I do think it's fun to read a middle grade on this series, because I didn't show my experience reading Nevermore because I didn't really think anything of it. I didn't think it would be my favorite book of March, which is crazy. So I feel like it would be really fun to read Wondersmith in this video, just to kind of have a little bit more representation, because I don't read middle grade on this channel. So I think it could be kind of fun to read a middle grade and talk about it. So this is a sequel. I will talk about the first book more just because I can talk about the first book more than I can talk about a sequel. It's just a really fun series. So when I get more into this, we can talk about it. But it is following our main character, Morrigan, who was a cursed child, and the point is that she was taken from her family to be protected, and now and so the first book was her going through these trials to see if she's going to be allowed in the school, and now in this one we are going through like her school journey and making friends and dealing with the ramifications of the end of the first book, because crazy shit happened at the end of the first book. So we're gonna read Wondersmith. I'm really excited about this. I just don't know how much I'll be able to talk about it, which is why that's why I didn't want to pick sequels for this video, because sequels are significantly harder to talk about than first books in a series. So this will be more vibes than actually talking about plot. So the other one that we're gonna end this video with, so this won't be the next one after Wondersmith, but we're gonna end with the Future Saints. I did find my copy because I was trying to find my copy, but Future Saints we're gonna end with. But the real question is, what are we going to read if I fit either one of these? Because I am on a deadline for this video. So if we read one of these, which one are we gonna read? Because both are very anticipated books, and I feel like one would be better for this video because it's not technically a sequel, but it is in a world. And then one is a sequel but after a time jump, so it is like separate, because you can read the first 3 and not read the other 4 books. So they're kind of in the same situation where they're both sequels, but like kind of. So one of our options is Mistborn. I read Elantris earlier this year. I would like to read through the first 3 of these books. Are they the no, Well of Ascension I think is the next 3. Don't quote me on that. I still am very new to the Cosmere, but I read Elantris first. Actually, no. I've read 2 other Brandon Sandersons with mixed results. Trust the Emerald Sea, I gave a 3-star, read it twice, and I still gave it a 3-star both times. And then Wizard's Guide to whatever it's called was a 4.5. I think I loved that book. I thought it was so good. I get why other people did not like it though, because it's very different than his normal books. So then I read Elantris, which I would consider like kind of my first book from him, because it was totally different than the other 2 books that I read. And I loved it. I gave it a 5-star. I absolutely adored it. The thing is though, I read the graphic audio version of those. So that is going to be different for these because I don't think I'm going to listen to the graphic audios because I did try the graphic audios, like a little trial run of them, and I didn't really like them. And I really don't like the normal audio of this. So I think I'm going to go try the graphic audio again just to see the vibe. And then if I don't like it still, we could physically read this one. The other option is Iron Gold, and this is one that I want to read this year. I do, again, this is a graphic audio situation. I love the graphic audios of these. This is no, this one's two parts because Dark Age behind me, that's a 3-parter. I haven't gotten any of those yet. Yeah, so 2-parter. Really excited, but I'm really scared because I know this like takes a darker turn than the first 3 books, which is crazy because the first 3 books were already incredibly dark. So I'm kind of in between these. I don't know which one I'm gonna read yet. It's gonna be a surprise to both of us. I think I'm gonna try both and see what the vibe is. But as of right now, we are gonna go read Wondersmith, and I'm probably not gonna update. I'm just gonna read it and see if it is a 5-star because I do think this could be a 5-star. Oh, and I forgot. Update. Atmosphere. I'm giving it a 5-star. I'm giving it a 5-star. I really thought about it, and I think the only reason I'm not giving it a 5-star, I wasn't giving it a 5-star, is I had a couple of little problems with it, but when you look at Atmosphere versus the other things I gave a 5-star this year, it's 100% a 5-star. I wasn't giving it a 5-star because it's not a 5-star compared to Seven Husbands and Carrie Soto, which is not fair to this book. Like, that is so unfair. Because again, those are like 6-star, 7-star books. Those are amazing 10-star book reads. And this is a 5. Atmosphere is a 5. I just was pitting it up against 2 books that are impossible to match. And I feel like that's what's so crazy about reading a Taylor Jenkins read is you're pitting her books against each other. And so sometimes you're just like, man, this was fine. And then you think about it and you're like, no, actually that was great. The other 2 that I read were just amazing. So that's the problem. So I'm giving it a 5-star. It's a 5-star. It's sticking with me. I'm thinking about it. All I want to do is watch space things and read space things. I was watching the stupid live stream on Netflix of the Artemis 2 today. So I think that means it's a 5-star. So Wondersmith, we're going to read it next. I'm going to tell you what I think about it. I'm just going to read the whole thing. And then I will decide if we're reading Mistborn or Iron Age. I do think I am leaning more toward Mistborn though, but we'll see. We'll see about that. But yes, let's go read something light and fun after reading Atmosphere. Actually, that's a good point. Something light and fun after Atmosphere. Let's go read Wondersmith. If you couldn't tell, behind me is my new rotating bookshelf that I spent all day yesterday putting together while I was watching Love Overboard on Hulu. If you like reality shows and you have Hulu, I would definitely go watch Love Overboard because it's insane. It is actually unhinged of a reality show. It's very Love Island coded, but make it even more psychotic. And it's got Gabby Windey as the host. And she's so funny. She's so weird. And I only know who she is because I don't really watch The Bachelor, but she was on a season with Dancing with the Stars. And she was really, really funny on it. And I actually saw her live on tour with Dancing with the Stars. And then, so yeah, now she's the host of this. It's so funny. Anyway, so yeah, if you're a fan of reality TV, I would say watch Love Overboard. But while I was watching that, I put together my new rotating bookshelf. And it's not the best at rotating, but it does rotate. You just kind of have to use 2 hands. I feel like it would be better if it had like light paperbacks on it, but I've got some chunky books on here. But you know, it's working for what I wanted it to do. Basically, I wanted this to put all those books that were on the floor over there, like all the books that are like my least anticipated that I pulled off my shelves to go on other things, go in like videos and stuff because I just don't really want to read them. So they're all on here, plus some like other things that I actually really do want to read. So it's kind of like a mix of that stuff. And then I did make this my overflow shelf for special editions that I'll be reading in my Reading All My Book Box thing. So this was originally over there, but it was just stacking up because I have so many. So this has become the overflow for that, but I kind of love it. Like it's not my favorite. Again, it could work better, but I'm kind of obsessed with that at the same time. Lots of shelf space, and it takes up like no space, and so it's just literally in this little corner, so it ended up working out perfectly. But that being said, I have finished Wondersmith, and great news, this is a 5-star. So we are 2 for 2. since I did give Atmosphere a 5-star, I ended up giving it a 5-star. We are 2 for 2. We're 2 for 2 in this shopping my shelves for 5 stars. So I'm really excited, and I actually just really want to read Hollowpox. Like, that's all I want to do. But I feel like that's a little bit cheating because I don't want to read just like 2 more books in that series, and this whole video just ends up being a Nevermore series. I am gonna read Mistborn next. I have decided on Mistborn, which we'll get to in a second, but I can't find it. So whenever I find that book, I'll show it to you. But anyway, Wondersmith, fantastic. This was a great follow-up to the first book. Again, I can't really talk about it too much, but it's still following our main character, Morgan Crow, who was a cursed child in the first book. And it's just kind of dealing with stuff from the end of the first book and what we learned in that first book. And this one's a lot more about other friendships with people. So like the first one was kind of her just getting her bearing on the world, and this one she's actually going to school and she is learning to become friends with other people, which is something she's never had before. She never had friends because of her cursed child status. And there's also like dealing with adults who are acting like children. That's what I love about this series, is the children act more like adults than the adults do, which feels rather accurate, especially lately. There are some adults that we all know who act very much like children and stomp their feet to get their way. And in this, it's like that. Like, you have these people in power who don't know how to deal with her and aren't getting their way and are acting like brats. And it's like, yeah, this is pretty apt for right now. This makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I love the characters. I love the inclusion of some of our side characters from the first book a little bit more. There's like a couple characters that I really like from book 1 that I've kind of taken a little bit of a backseat since she is at school, but I do like that the other characters have come forward and kind of taken over that place. They're really, really fun characters. I like her friends. I also like the addition of these like trickery streets, which are really, really cool. There's just a lot of really cool things in this book, and there was another jaw-dropping moment. Like, again, I am not able to predict stuff that is happening in these books, which is crazy because I feel like I can predict stuff in young adult books and adult books, but you give me a middle grade series and it is more shocking than some mystery books that I've read. Like, when it was revealed in this one, like what was going on, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I never would have saw that coming. Like, I never would have seen that coming. It makes total sense. You could have solved it, but I did not see it coming at all. So I loved how this ended. I'm just so excited to get to the next book. So I do have Hollowpox. I will be reading it really soon, but probably this month, to be honest. But we are going to move on to Mistborn. I've been putting Mistborn off. I need to read it. I actually have already read like the introduction, not the introduction, but like, is it the prelude? I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's like the first chapter, but we're basically introduced to Kelsior, and he is doing something in this encampment, and Kelsior is basically just trying to help people. He's trying to help people. He's trying to wake them up, fight against the oppressors. So I'm pretty sure like the whole book is just probably going to be mostly surrounding that and surrounding Kelsior, because I do know Kelsior is like the main character. So anyway, we're going to go read Mistborn. I am really hoping it is also a 5-star. I do feel like the riskiest one in this video will be the Future Saints, which we're reading last. But you never know. Elantris could have been a fluke. Like, Elantris really could have been a fluke, but I'm hoping not. I'm already liking the cheekiness that Elantris had as well. Like, Elantris just had this, like, funny humor, and Mistborn definitely has a similar humor style, so I am very happy with that. So, we're gonna go read Mistborn. I will probably update you a little bit more during that book because it's a long book, and it's intense, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel throughout it. So, hopefully we'll update you around 25%, and then go from there. This is a bit of an impromptu review, because I don't have that much to say about this one. Like, I still wasn't sure if I wanted to say anything about this, but I am past the 50% mark in Mistborn, and I am enjoying it now. Oh yeah, also my washer is running. I forgot what I put this on. I'm enjoying it now, but I actually really didn't like the first, like, 100 pages, 100 to 150 pages. If I had not loved Elantris, this would have been a situation of potentially DNFing or soft DNFing and putting it off to another time, because definitely 150 pages in was not feeling it, was not feeling the 5-star, was not feeling a 4-star, was borderline a 3-star, and for no other reason than I was just really bored. And I think that comes from not reading a lot of books where it kind of just piles on the world building at the beginning. Again, it was it wasn't as hard to understand, but a similar situation like Crescent City, where Crescent City just dumped the world building on you at the beginning, and this one did a similar thing over more pages, so it did make more sense. But I was still just incredibly bored. And I know that's like a crazy thing to say, and I feel like that's slightly blasphemous, but I honestly didn't really care for the first 150 pages. Now that we are through that and into the meat of the book, it's so much better. It's so much better. I'm at page 300. I think a lot of my problem with the beginning of the book is and kind of right now, I just don't think a lot of the characters have much personality. Again, I know that's crazy, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, but I just found the characters in Elantris so much more compelling and more interesting. Serene is like one of my favorite characters, like, of all time. So that's a hard pill to swallow. And I also loved Raoden. I just loved all the characters, and I loved the complicated character of Rathen. These are all characters from Elantris if you haven't read it yet. But they had 3 perspectives that you were following, and all 3 of them were so unique, so interesting, so different. And it was like that from the beginning. And then for me, the world in Elantris was so cool. It was such a cool world building in Elantris. It was so different, unique, what was going on. This one, I'm starting to get that now, but it took me a while to get there, and I'm still not loving the characters. Obviously, I have so many more books to actually get to know the characters in this situation. Kelsier and Vin are our main characters. Kelsier, he feels like a cheap version of Raoden. It feels like I don't want to say cheap. Oh man, I'm gonna get so much shit for this. I think he is Raoden. I think they are like the same character. The characters in this feel somewhat almost of a redo of the characters from Elantris. So like there's a lot of very similar characters. Serene and Vin are not similar whatsoever. There is no Serene in this as of yet, which is sad, which I think is kind of what I'm missing. Vin is such a non-entity, but I think that's the point, because she was like a street urchin and was trying to stay under the radar and was trying basically to not be noticed, that I think that's why I find her character incredibly lacking. It's because as a character, she's incredibly lacking, but it does not make for a very compelling reading experience as of currently. This is definitely one of those series that I think is going to, obviously it's the Cosmere, it's going to intensely build on itself. So I'm just like trying to be patient. And again, I am enjoying more of what's going on, but not immensely, like not as much as I thought I would. Like I thought this was going to be an instant hit, especially with the way I loved Elantris, and no one else seems to love Elantris, and everyone loves this one. So I thought it was going to be a situation of like, oh my god, I loved Elantris, but this one's like even better. And that's what I've been told by everybody. And so far, 300 pages in, I don't agree. I think Elantris is a lot better. Which again is a very massive hot take, which I know nobody agrees with. So take this with a grain of salt. But yeah, so the characters are fine. The world building is fine. The world in general is fine. I do think the most interesting thing about this obviously is the metal bending, whatever. The metal having powers when you consume it is really, really cool. I like it. And I like how the Mistborns are done, how the Mistings are done. I think it's really well done and well written. I'm just a little bored. Like not anymore, but I was very bored. I think the addition of Elend, I'm not going to say their last name because that gives things away, but Elend is a fantastic addition to Vin's point of view, because he's bringing out more of Vin's fighting side and personality, which I'm appreciating. So I'm liking that. I also think it's adding a little bit more like court intrigue. I'm enjoying the court intrigue. Like in Vin's chapters when we're actually at balls and that kind of stuff, I'm enjoying that. Elsewhere's more political heavy side of things, I'm okay with. Like I'm okay with. The fighting scenes are really, really cool. They're really well done. Just overall, it's just not what I was expecting. And I think that is a situation of expectation versus my reality, because my expectations were, through the roof for this book, with how many people were like, oh my god, it's the best book ever. And so because I'm not feeling that, was just a little bit disappointed. So anyway, I love how I didn't even tell you what this is about. I just assumed everybody knows what this is about. This is following our main character, Vin and Kelsier, and they live in this kind of almost dystopian kind of world where the hero has basically become the villain. And I think that's really interesting. So the Lord Ruler was someone who was picked for like a prophecy, supposedly. And now that they have beat the deepness, so this is like post, like think post Throne of Glass, post ACOTAR, post, I mean, all your books, big book series were the Chosen One. This is post that. This is post Chosen One has defeated the bad thing. And now the Chosen One has taken over, but the Chosen One has brought death and destruction to the world, is what it seems like. So I do think obviously there's going to be something with that prophecy. I am curious if the prophecy was wrong or the wrong person was picked. So I feel like that's the road we're kind of going down, but I find that fascinating. So we're following Kelsier and Vin, who, mainly Kelsier, who has decided to help the lower class rebel against Lord Ruler and what's going on, and Kelsier has a specific hate of the Lord Ruler. So this is definitely one of those situations of, it depends whose perspective you're in, who is evil. Well, obviously the enslavement of the Ska is evil no matter what. But it's definitely a situation of, you know, some of this reminds me a little bit of Alchemized. I know that's really strange to see. Nothing in the writing, nothing with actually the plot, nothing like that. But Alchemized, the idea was the Chosen One lost. So this is like the Chosen One won, and it's still bad. So I think that's interesting. Nothing like Alchemized though. That was just a weird thought that popped up. But yeah, so that's just kind of, it's a heist book. It's a heist political maneuvering book. And so now at 300 pages in, I still don't think like that much has happened. There's been a lot that's happened, but it's not like a ton that's happened. It's just a very dense book for, I feel like, what we've gotten so far. So it's fine. It's fine so far. I have no, like, I don't know. This is one of those that could be anywhere from a 3. I don't think it's gonna be lower than a 3, but it could be anywhere from a 3 to a 5, depending on what happens in this back half of the book. So I think I'm just gonna leave it there because this one's really hard to talk about because I have so many mixed feelings on it. But yeah, so I don't know where I'm gonna land with this one, but we are chunking through this one. We have officially finished Mistborn, which I honestly thought it was gonna take me a little bit longer. I was trying to finish before this weekend because I'm going to Myrtle Beach with some of Lucas's friends. Actually, like, it's like a couple of things, so I'm a little nervous, but it's one of Lucas's friends and his wife, and we're going for the weekend. So I was like, I don't know how much reading I'm gonna get done if it's not like more beachy reads. Like, Mistborn is not a beach read. It's not a beach read. And I think this video is supposed to come out Sunday, so that's why it didn't work. So I'm trying to finish everything by Thursday, ideally, but I don't know. It is Tuesday. I have finished Mistborn. It is early in the morning. It's 9:30 in the morning, so I have plenty of time to pick up our last book. But I did actually get through this way faster than I thought I would. I do think part of that was listening to the audiobook, and I feel like I had a wild experience reading this book because I first tried physically reading it, and I did read like the prologue, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. The writing is obviously really good, but I'm not sure if I'm like vibing with the world building. Then I tried to read the first couple of chapters, and I just kept zoning out, kept not paying attention, kept having to go back. So then I was like, okay, let's try the graphic audio. And so I listened to like a little like snippet of it, and I was like, I don't know if I love this, which is disappointing because I really like the Elantris one, but I think the Elantris one is like newer because it was based off of the 10th anniversary edition. So it's all updated. It's all really, really nice. And so that definitely made a difference. So I loved that version of graphic audio. I did end up buying the first, and you can't buy this on Audible, you can't buy it on Libro FM, you can't buy it on anywhere. There's like a rights issue with the original graphic audio for this, so I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna remake them eventually, but I do know that I bought the first one, on actual graphic audio using their app, and I hated it. I really hated wasting money on that because I ended up really not liking it. And I also can't stand graphic audio at 1x speed because they talk so slow. They talk so slow in graphic audio. I normally speed it up to at least 1.5 is generally where I'm at with graphic audio. I don't go too much faster because of the sound effects. But when you sped it up, it turned into a robot on their format. And I was like, oh, this is even worse. Like, this is even worse. The voices alone weren't horrible, but with that sped up quality, it became unlistenable too. And when I was trying to listen to it on 1x speed, I was just zoning out. So that audiobook did not work for me. So then I was like, I went back to physical reading and then I kept zoning out. And then I was like, okay, I gotta figure something out because I'm never gonna finish this. I'm literally never gonna finish this because I'm gonna read 4 pages a day for the rest of my life. So I was like, yeah, let's figure out something with the other audiobook. So I ended up getting the regular audiobook, which still not my favorite. Like, I definitely wish there were multiple narrators. The narrator is good, but he definitely is not my favorite narrator just because, like, if there's a lead female character, then I do want a female character to be doing their chapters at least. So I am sad that there is no female narrator that is also included in the audiobook. Also, the narrator just feels older than a lot of the characters. So like Elend, he made sound like 30 and he made Vin sound 12. So that definitely hurt that aspect a little bit. And then Kelsier also sounded like a 50-year-old man, and I don't think he's supposed to be that old. So that threw me off just because, like, ages and stuff. So I do think the audiobook hurt my reading experience a little bit, but I also don't know if I would have gotten through this if not for the audio. So I am actually going to give this a 3.75. So immediately off the bat, if that puts you off of the rest of this video, I'm completely fine with that because I know people really, really love this book. I like Elantris better, which I feel like is blasphemous. I feel like everyone has Elantris at the bottom of their like list of favorites for the Cosmere. But based on what I've read so far, I would put Elantris easy first, like easy first, 5-star, amazing. And it's not even like, again, I did listen to the graphic audio for that one, but I loved the world, I loved the characters, I loved the storytelling. So I don't think it's just about the characters because I didn't love the characters in this book. And again, we'll get to that. I'm all over the place for this one because I just have a lot of thoughts about it. I would put Elantris first, then I would put Mistborn, and then I would put Trust of the Emerald Sea. And I think those are the only Cosmere books I have read so far because I have read the Wizard's Guidebook, which I loved. I give it like a 4.5. I really like it. It's my type of humor. I read a lot of those lit RPG type style books, so I really liked that one. But I think that's it that I've read so far for the Cosmere. So Mistborn. Yeah, I feel good with a 3.75. I just don't really feel any way about any of these characters. I did not cry at any of the sad parts because there are like, this is a medium stakes. I'd say medium stakes. I do assume it will get very high stakes towards the middle. Like Red Rising is a high stakes book. Every single book is high stakes. This is more, I would put medium. Like I can see everybody dying, but I don't think it's going to happen right off the bat. In Red Rising, anybody could die at any time. 100%. So for this one, I don't know, like there were deaths and there were sad moments, but I didn't feel anything when they happened, especially at the end. Like the big reveal at the end, I didn't really feel anything. I do think the actual reveal, like the twist in this, having to do with the Lord Ruler, because there is obviously, I'm not just saying any spoilers, there is obviously something going on with the Lord Ruler. That's kind of our goal, is to take him out. And there is a twist, and I think that twist was phenomenally done. I think it was fantastic. I have no problem with how this book is plotted and how this book was written. I think it's great in those aspects. In an emotional aspect, not so much. I was very about this one. I also did not love Vin as a character, and I actually think that was a writing problem and not actually the character problem. And I talked about early on, I appreciated that she was kind of a behind the scenes girl at the beginning because she was a thief and her whole life has been trying to avoid catching attention because she doesn't want to get beat and hurt and stuff like that. But as we get through the book, like, she develops more and more of a personality. But I didn't like how her character was framed. I think there were I'm scared to say anything bad about this. I feel like it's like talking about a Stephen King book where I'm just gonna like catch strays in the comment section because I didn't love this. I just thought Vin's character was wildly, not unpredictable, but I feel like at times she didn't follow like the rules of her character, and I didn't like how other people treated her in the book. So first off, she would definitely she definitely was a not like other girls character, and I always have problems with that. Like, I think, and I think this might be like probably a product of its time a little bit, her love interest for her liked her because she wasn't frilly and into the balls and into she was into politics, and she was really smart, and she wasn't like the other girls, and that's why he was into her. And unfortunately, that does leave a bit of a bad taste in my mouth because it's like, okay, so she's not allowed to like her Starbucks and boots kind of girl. She's not allowed to like the frilly dresses. She's not allowed to like be girly because that would make her like the other girls. So unfortunately, that is like a trope that I don't love, and that was pretty prevalent throughout this. And then I also didn't like that all of the men in this book were trying to turn her into a lady, and all she wanted to do was be a thief, and like, but she wasn't like she wasn't a strong character. Like, she was a very weak character, and the only thing that made her really a strong character is not listening to Kelsier and kind of like following him. But that's pretty much it. Like, that is the extent of her strength of a character, and I think that's why I had a hard time during the finale when she had her like big moment. Like, she had a big moment at the end. I just didn't buy it based on her character from the rest of the book. And I do think it was supposed to show character growth, but I think there was like too big of a gap. There was like there needed to be a little bit in that gap that showed that she could do these types of things. So I just don't buy that the way that final fight went. I don't buy that that's kind of how it would have went, unfortunately. So that's why I have a lot of mixed feelings about the ending, because I didn't have an emotional impact from a big thing that happened. I loved the twist. I thought it was fantastic, but I also didn't love that final fight scene, which I feel like was the culmination of this book. So that's, yeah. And then the other issue with Vin's character, again, Vin was the character I was like, I really love a strong female character in a book. I really do. And I think that's probably why I didn't connect with this book as much, and I connected with Elantris so much, is I loved Serene. I loved her so much. She was such a good female character. I feel like we almost took a little bit of a step back with Vin into a very generic female character, and she was the only female character. Like, there was no one else. There was no other female characters except for like a bitch. Like, and she was really nasty and was what you expect. Like, all the other female characters were nasty. They were nasty and they were mean, and I didn't love that. But again, this is what I would I got some shit for this too. This is what I would call boy fiction. This is boy fantasy. So I get that. I kind of was going into this thinking it would primarily be a cast of men, and unfortunately, again, Elantris was primarily a cast of men, but Serene was such a strong character that it didn't feel as bad. This one, I definitely felt a lack of a strong, really good female presence, and I'm hoping that changes later on. I'm really fingers crossed with that. But again, the other problem that I have with Vin's character is the romance. There is a very half-assed romance in here, and I do like the other character. I like him, but in my opinion, if you're going to throw a romance into a book, make it make sense. I feel like in the situation in this book, it probably didn't need to be in there. She could have just been friends with somebody. You could have added a female character and her been friends with that person and them work together. I think that almost would have been better than the insta-lovey. It was man, because part of me loved reading that, especially at the beginning of the book, but the further the book went, the more I did not like the romance, just because it wasn't fleshed out and it wasn't done well. So I'm hoping, obviously it was unfinished. I hope that it continues in the series. I don't know, because I don't know where it's going, but I think it has the capacity to be fleshed out more, instead of us seeing them meet a few times and saying they're in love with each other, basically. It just doesn't work. And that may be my romantasy side. Well, because I got a lot of problems with romantasy books. It's kind of a similar problem I have with romantasy books, where it's like very insta love. The romance in Elantris was so good. It was so built up. It was so fantastic without taking away anything from the plot. Like, I would never call Elantris a romantasy or a romance. It is a straight up fantasy, but there was such a good romantic subplot that was fully fleshed out that I know he can do it. So that's why I'm looking at this book. I'm looking at this book and thinking about Elantris. And the fact that he even says Elantris is one of his weaker books, and that everyone agrees it's one of his weaker books. And I'm sitting here going, I so disagree. I so fantastically disagree. If I had read Elantris and I had read Mistborn with no information about either one of them, I would say Mistborn is the first book he wrote, is his first release. I would have said this had a good idea. This had a lot of interesting characters. It had a good heist idea, but I don't think anything was fully fleshed out in this. I don't think the characters were fully fleshed out. I don't think the heist really was either. It was a little bit of a disappointing heist. I don't think the romance was fleshed out. I don't think the relationships, nothing was fully fleshed out in this book that made me connect with it. In Elantris, you had a fully formed story. And yes, I know some of you are going to be like, well, this is the first in a series. Okay, but it can still be fully fleshed out. Like, your characters can still feel like these strong characters. Like, most first books that I read are fantastic, and I cry at the end of them, and they have an emotional impact on me. This one didn't. So I'm not saying anyone is wrong by saying they like Mistborn more, but my reading experiences, I think Elantris is the better book, which I know is crazy. I know that's crazy, but I am going to continue with this. I do think I have the capacity to like later books better. I think with more, like I said, fleshing out more characters, more relationships, more of this world, because I do think the most interesting thing, and I kind of said it before, the most interesting thing about this book is the backstory you're getting on the High Ruler. 100%. The little tiny like journal things that you're getting, those are so good. Those are so good in what story that told and how it worked with the twist. So good. So fantastic. And I think that is the best part of this book. I just want everything else to be fleshed out a little bit more. So that's all I'm going to say about this book. This is 3.75. I am going to start the next book. Like, I am. I do want to see what happens, because part of this almost feels like a standalone. Like, this feels... Obviously not, because it left, like, the main twist led to a cliffhanger of what is going to happen in this world, what's actually going on. But if you didn't include that, this would be a standalone. Like, you could actually read this as a standalone. If you are just wanting to read Mistborn, you could potentially read most of this as a standalone, as long as you're okay with, like, the overarching evil not being solved. So a lot of people do that. So, but everything else was kind of dealt with in this. So I do think it has the capacity to read as a standalone. Anyway, I'm gonna put this aside now. I am gonna start the second book, not for this video, just for personally for me. I probably will. I don't know if it just depends. I probably will be reviewing them in my membership from now on, unless I do them for another video. Like, if I'm doing a mood reading video, you could see a Mistborn book, something like that. But because it's kind of like a miscellaneous thing, I probably will be putting those updates in memberships, which I'm gonna actually announce it, but I am actually gonna be starting memberships in May. I got enough interest that I am cool with starting it. So I'm really excited about that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I do community posts, and I had a poll that goes up that was like, hey, if anyone's interested in memberships. I kind of did one every couple of months just to see interest. But anyway, I kind of talked about in a post all the stuff that I would include in the membership. So I will be starting that in May, and it's going to be a lot of book reviews, a lot of extra video content is kind of what I want to put out. But anyway, those reviews will probably be in there from now on, unless they're for specific videos. And obviously, they'll be in my wrap-ups. Like, that's the thing. Extra stuff is behind a paywall, but there's nothing that you will not hear about in wrap-ups. So I don't want to make it, like, super, like, oh, you'll never hear about this book that I read. No, you'll hear about it in wrap-ups on the main channel. So don't worry about that if you aren't able to or just don't feel like doing a membership, which is totally understandable. The Future Saints. I have started this. I'm on chapter 14. Chapters are very short. Or page 76. And I'm enjoying it. I definitely can feel the Taylor Jenkins Reid thing that's going on. We already had not a big reveal, but a little small reveal it was pretty obvious what was going on. And I don't think it was supposed to be really hidden to you. I think the information was trickled to you. And then when they told you, it's like, yeah, we're confirming this very sad thing. So I liked how that was done, but this is following a couple different perspectives, and it is happening kind of in two different timelines. It's primarily occurring in the current day, and it is following our main character, Hannah, who is part of the lead singer and guitarist in the Future Saints, which is a band, and it is actually taking place in current day. Like, it's not doing a Taylor Jenkins Reid historical fiction kind of thing. It is current day, which is very different. And so far, that vibe is the biggest difference between a Taylor Jenkins Reid book and the multiple perspectives, because we're following Hannah, but we're also following the tour manager, and we're following him a lot. So the Future Saints has basically fallen apart. That's the point of this. They have fallen apart. Their manager died 10 months previous to this book starting, and it's not going well. Hannah is taking it incredibly hard, and they are falling apart. They're losing money for their label. They're tanking at their tour dates, and they're basically just done. And so we have a tour manager that shows up that has been hired by the production company or the label. He has to get another studio album out of them, and then they can be cut loose, but they need to make a little bit more money. So the story, I'm not sure exactly where it's going. I assume it might be a romance between Hannah and the tour manager. I'm not 100% sure where the story is going. It's definitely an emotional story. I've already kind of teared up a couple of times. Sorry, I'm also like very congested. My allergies are really, really bad. So I don't know. I don't know where this one is going. I'm very curious what we're going to do in this story, because I don't have a good idea other than we're following this band, which I am very much interested in. So I'm going to continue reading this one. I don't think it's going to take very long. It's very fast-paced. Like, it is very, very, very fast-paced. So we are done this video because I have completed the Future Saints, and I actually was going to update around 50% for this one, but to be honest, I kind of was not liking it at 50%. I actually wasn't liking any of the middle section of this book, and it took me a while to figure out why, but I do think I have figured out why I struggled with a lot of this book, and we'll get into that. But I am actually gonna give it a 4-star because I did end up loving the end. I think it all came together, and once I understood what I didn't like about this book, it actually made me like the book more, which I know sounds really, really strange, but because I can pinpoint my problems, it made me appreciate the parts that I liked even more. So I'm giving it a 4. It probably is closer to like a 3.75, but I think I'm just gonna stick with the 4 based on the ending and the lingering feelings I'll have for this book. So this one could change lower, but as of right now, it is a 4. So for this one, basically my biggest problem, and oh God, I hate saying it. Again, we're gonna talk about Taylor Jenkins Reid. Primarily Daisy Jones and the Six, because this very much does remind me of a Daisy Jones and the Six type of story, but Daisy Jones and the Six was able to pull off a 5-star with their story versus this one where not everything worked, and I think it's a very specific writing style, and because that's even more complicated, because Daisy Jones and the Six was primarily like articles and interviews and that kind of stuff. This did have that mixed in there, but that was not like the primary way that the story was told. My problem with this, and I normally never have this problem, this is almost never a problem for me, I did not like that this was in first person. I feel like that's the first time I've ever said that on this channel. I think this should have been third person. And I also think that we picked a wrong perspective in this. So this is primarily following two perspectives, Theo and Hannah. And I talked about it before. Theo is the manager, and he's like going on tour, he's helping them write stuff. And then Hannah is the front man of the band. She is the voice, she is the face. And she is struggling with grief during the entire book. I'm so upset because the backbone of this story is 5 stars. It really is. The way that they set up the relationship between Hannah and the person that died, amazing. The problem is Theo. And not that I hate him. I don't dislike him. I actually like him as a character. But I don't think he actually works in the context of this book. I don't think this actually should have had any sort of attempt at romance, because I think it takes away from what the rest of the story was trying to say, because this really is a story about a woman trying to overcome her grief and trying to get over addiction and dealing with her grief with addiction, refusing to let go. And the romance kind of just muddied the water while you were reading the book, because it's really not important. Like, the romance is so small and unimportant, but it was randomly just thrown in there. So there were these really important scenes, and there would be like a romantic tension between the two of them, and it was like so unnecessary. And I didn't love seeing Hannah through Theo's perspective, because I feel like it just wasn't important. Like, I don't care what Theo thought about in any of these situations, and that really hurts a book when over half the book is that perspective. Because I would argue that Theo's perspective was a very dominant perspective. His is the final chapter in this book, which again, I think is a disservice. And I think the book is more about Theo than it is Hannah. And I think that's why I can't give it a 5 star, because the book should have been about Hannah, and it should have been about the dead character. So I think that this should have been Hannah as one of the perspectives in the current day. So keep what was done with Hannah in the current day, minus Theo and the romance. And then make a third person. And then there should have been the other perspective, because I do think there should have been another perspective, but I think it should have been a year ago in the perspective of the person who died. And if you read this, you know, I'm trying not to say who died because it's kind of like a reveal at the beginning. Let me see if it's in the synopsis. It actually is a spoiler. Okay, so they do say the manager is the one who died, but they don't say who the manager is. And yeah, okay, so I'm gonna leave it. Leave it at that, because it doesn't actually say it in here. So I think that the manager should have been the other perspective a year ago before their death. And I actually think this book should have spanned more time. So this is like a very small period of time. And I think, again, that also did a disservice to the book, because I didn't learn about Hannah and the manager's relationship enough. I really wanted to see more of that, which I did cry at the end of this. It had an emotional gut punch, but I wanted more of that. I think us focusing on Theo was the wrong decision. I would have loved those chapters from the past. I think I actually would have fell down on the ground sobbing if that other perspective was in the past and was following the person who had died. I just think that would have been so much better for what this story was trying to say, instead of focusing on Theo, who I just didn't feel like his perspective was important. So that's kind of my 2 cents on this one. I still think it was a really, really good book. In an alternate reality, that is what I wish the book would have been. And it would have been a 6-star read, like easily a 6-star read if that's what we did with this. So maybe in the future we'll get something like that. Obviously, Ashley Winstead is able to write something like this. So I will be looking at what she writes in the future. I think I do have one by her on NetGalley, maybe. I don't remember if it's her or somebody else. I did enjoy this, 4-star, and that finishes up this video. I feel like we generally had a good video. Like, we did find 2 5 stars, which is great. We did have a disappointment. So let's talk about what we read. So we started off obviously with Atmosphere. We gave it a 5-star. Very emotionally impactful and honestly really cool to read and then watch. The Artemis 2. The Artemis 2 landed during this whole thing. So that was actually really, really cool. So I finished this, and I think like 2 days later, I watched the Artemis 2 land in the ocean. That was actually really fun. So I think that was fun. I feel like it enhanced the reading experience actually. So 5-star, I enjoyed it. I will be thinking about it. It still is not one of my favorite Taylor Jenkins read. This is a softer 5-star underneath all of my other 5 stars for her, but still above Malibu Rising. Then an easy 5-star was Wondersmith. I'm glad we were able to sneak this one in here. I have started Hollowbox. Are we surprised? It's just such an easy like little audiobook, because I love the audiobooks. A little audiobook just to listen to while I'm playing on my Switch and stuff. So this is great. Second book in the Nevermore series. I can't really say too much else about this one, but it was a 5-star. I really liked it. I don't know if this or Atmosphere is #1 for April right now. That's a really tough decision because they're so different. Like, they're so different. I don't know. I probably Atmosphere, but I think I'm gonna have to see at the end of the month. Hopefully I read another thing that's like obviously, oh my god, this is amazing. Maybe that will happen and I won't have to decide between the two. Then we read our disappointing book of the video, which is crazy because it's still really good. I gave it a 3.75, but I do think I probably would have given it a 4 if I didn't have really high expectations for it, but it is a 3.75. Disappointed, but it's still a great book. Like, that's what's crazy when you talk about a good book that was disappointing, because it just feels like it shouldn't be talked about together. But 3.75, I will be continuing. My second book actually just got here this morning, so it's a little chunkier too. I was kind of expecting the same width. No, it does look bigger, which is, oh my god, this book already was really long to get through. But that one, and then we just talked about it, The Future Saints, 4 stars. Could have been 6 stars, could have been the favorite if we had just made a couple of adjustments. So anyway, that is everything that I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I said it earlier, but I will be coming out with a membership on May 1st, and it's going to be preloaded with a bunch of stuff, and this is one of those videos that has been chosen to actually have an add-on book. It will be on the membership. So I have picked a 5th 5-star prediction, and that separate book will be for members only if you guys want to go watch that on May 1st when that's all preloaded and opened up for you guys. But otherwise, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm a little nervous what else we're going to pick for Shop My Shelves, because obviously it's not gonna be 5-star predictions, because if I do pick that again, I'm not doing that. Like, that's one of the rules. I can choose to do it, but I will pick something else because I don't want to do 2 things in a row. But there's some crazy things in that jar, so hopefully we will get to Shop My Shelves again. But I do want to put another Fairy Loot purge out before we do another one of those. So I'm kind of alternating those right now until we get through all of our Fairy Loot books, and then we'll switch around things from there. But anyway, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you subscribe to miss any future content. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you leave a comment down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, leave a tree emoji for the tree on the cover of The Future Saints if you made it this far, to let me know that you were here. Otherwise, let me know in the comments down below what you thought about the video, what you thought about the books, if there's any of these books that you're interested in, or if there's any 5-star predictions for me that you think I would give a book 5 stars for. I would love to hear that. I would love to add that to my list, because I actually had a really hard time picking 5-star predictions for this video. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.